everyone, this is Javid and you're watching the 5 Minute Wisdom Show. In this episode, I'm going to share with you the 5 most important books that have changed my life, that have impacted me most and made me the person I am today. Now, I've got a couple of these books here, 4 of them here. In fact, one, I would say one of the major ones, I gave it to a friend. It's a book called The Power of Habit, and I'm going to start a review by that book. Now, I will give you the insights that I do remember for the moment, that I keep in my mind, and anything I do, I try to apply those principles in my life. And I believe these principles will help you a lot, and I would love at the end of this video if you could share your book list or your favorite books as well. Now, I will start with The Power of Habit. This is absolutely amazing book. This is actually the first book I did review on. It's one of those books that have impacted me so massively that I decided to take action immediately and to try to build those right habits. Now, this book, as the title says, The Power of Habit, talks about the habits, how habits can influence your life, impact your life, and how habits actually rule you, right? Now, the book's main idea is that because our brains are pre-programmed not to think too much, not to cost energy too much, it turns certain behavior that we do continuously into habits, and then we human beings, we start doing those actions on autopilot mode, right? This can be something very positive as well as something very negative too. So it's upon your choices, the choices you do today, the small actions you take today. In fact, if you decide to take small positive actions, you can turn your life in longer run into something great, something massive. And if you do small negative things every day, that can harm your life massively. So when I read that book, it was a complete like game changer for me, and I decided to take small steps towards success, small good actions every day, and it has impacted my life massively. So I do recommend go and check that book out, The Power of Habit. And by reading that book, you will realize that what you do today actually has a greater impact on your future. Your decisions today will change your life in the future. That was massive, that was great, and I really loved it. Now, the other 4 books are here. I'm going to go through all of them, and I want to touch upon this book called Mastery by Robert Greene. This is book number 2, I would say. I don't define them, I don't categorize them like, oh, this is my first most important, they all are really important, they all have role in my life, and I try to apply their principles. Now, one of those principles, as I said, was The Power of Habit, and that's like a great book, and I do recommend that one. The second one I'd recommend is Mastery by Robert Greene. This is absolutely massive book, especially if you're a person who doesn't know what they want to do with their lives, hasn't decided yet, and hasn't understood or realized what their passion, what their goal in life is, what your calling is. It's a must book to read. It's a huge book. It has a bit difficult language, but you have to go through it. Apparently, the core idea of the book is because we human beings, we all have different DNAs, right? And our DNAs, they do control what we are doing in life, right? The book's main idea is that every human being is special. Each of us has something unique in our, like inside us, where that calling, if you tap into that energy, that fire inside us, that specific uniqueness of us, our DNA, if we find that voice inside us, we can be actually better than everyone else in the world. And it says, and it gives example of like number of people, like most successful people in the world, and about their lives, that how they could find their calling, and it shows ways, in fact, how to find your calling, your true passion, what you really want to do in life. And then it says, obviously, that your DNA pre-programming something in your inside you, where if you do that job, if you are in that field, you'll be really successful. You can actually find that voice, and that's something mainly, which is what you are very passionate about. I do love his example. He gives an example. If you really want to find that calling inside you, you don't really need to find it, because when we were children, when we were very small, we all knew what we wanted. There was something that inspired us. Now, if we look at it from like a scientific perspective, our DNAs, they do not know like what a lawyer is or what engineer is or what some other field is. All it knows that, do you like talking to people, do you like communicating, do you like numbers, or do you like observing things, that specific unique things that you used to love when you were a little child. You exactly knew what you wanted to do with your life. You were very passionate about it. But along the way, our school system, education system, our life, like work system and etc., has brainwashed us to believe that we have to do certain things we want to be successful. So it gives examples of like famous painters or Charles Darwin, famous scientists, and etc., and shows us that we all can tap into that source of unlimited energy, unlimited potential to achieve mastery. And mastery, by that it means, even though you find that energy, there are several passes you have to go. You have to start from apprenticeship, where you're learning constantly, and go through all those stages of life and turn into a master. Well, people think that you're a genius because you're better than everyone else, so far ahead of everyone else, when you find your true calling and follow that dream. A great book. I believe anyone who reads this book, it will help them massively to find their calling. It helped me personally find my calling, and I realized that it was teaching, helping people, sharing my knowledge, experience, and changing lives. That was like that true desire that I had. Book number 2, go check it out. Robert Greene, Mastery. Book number 3, I mean, I don't, as I said, I don't categorize them, I don't put them in order, but I really love Tony Robbins. I believe I call him my mentor because he's changed my life as well to so many positive ways. This book, Awaken the Giant Within, if you like if you watch people from personal development industry, from like really successful people, you will realize that it has changed so many people's life. I know UFC is really important now. People are watching UFC, they go crazy. Joe Rogan, the president of UFC, he personally said that Awaken the Giant Within has changed his life. It was his first personal development book. He read this and he started taking action. Now, I remember one message, and I always keep that message in my mind from this book. It says the words we use, and then it talks about all this neuro-linguistic programming your brain so that you attract positive stuff. But I really love this idea in this book that the words we use, actually, they have a huge influence in our lives, and you have to be really careful when you use the words. Now, most people in my country, in Azerbaijan, when you ask them, how are you? The response is, oh, I'm okay. So if you're saying I'm okay, you don't say like, I'm fantastic, I'm great. By saying I'm okay, you're drawing lower energy than by saying, oh, I feel great, I'm fantastic, I'm fabulous. Now, what he says, if you want to attract more positivity, more energy to your lives, try to choose the words that bring more energy, like, how are you? I'm great, I'm fantastic, I'm motivated. You can motivate and drive energy towards yourself by doing that. And if you don't feel, if you feel a little bad, a little tired, don't say, oh, how are you? I'm like, oh, I'm so bad. Like, stop complaining. Don't complain about that. Like, if you feel bad, it's like, oh, how are you? I'm okay. When you feel bad, right? I'm not the best, but I'm okay. Like, I don't feel good, but things are gonna be better. Like, focus on positive. Like, that's the main goal of, the main message that I got from this book that I'm still following. So, choose your words wisely when you say this, and try to give, try to use words that have more emotional power than the words that have less emotional power, right? I'm not good, I'm fantastic. So that was like something that I learned. I learned a lot about this book. Look at these notes that I made, so many notes. It would take for me hours just to do a review about this book, but that's like one message that I always follow from him. All right, this guy, my God, he's crazy. This man, everyone knows him. Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. This is like absolutely best book to read out there. Napoleon Hill, he actually learned from Andrew Carnegie, who was the founding father of all this personal development industry. There's one particular message I love about him, and he says it in the introduction of his book. He says that you can find this message at the beginning, at the end, or at the middle of the book. And this message is about, I'm going to do a comparison with this. Most people confuse it with Rhonda Byron's The Secret book, but well, how I would differentiate these two books, and the idea of the book is like you can achieve anything you want. You can be the best ever. You can achieve a lot of money, a lot of success, whatever you want, right? Just want it. That's the main idea. Now, Rhonda Byron's Secret, the book called Secret by Rhonda Byron, it's like, people are judging that book a lot. And it's really good. It gives those ideas. But this book adds that if you want to be successful, it's not only you think about it, you want it, you don't wait, you take action as well. That's why I love him more than like any other person in the world. Now, what is the name of this book? It says, Think and Grow Rich. No, by thinking, like by putting goals, by thinking that, or by deciding is like halfway down. If you decide, let's say you want to be successful, you want to make million in life. If you decide that, you're halfway through that. So thinking actually, in fact, goal. Now, recently I did a survey among my friends. I said, guys, what are your goals? What do you want to become? And like, what is your goal for next year? And like, I would say 9 out of 10 people did not have any goals. So what are your chances to become, let's say, a millionaire, to become really successful, if you don't even think about it? Now, if you want to achieve success in anything, first thing you have to do, you have to think about it every day, every single day. You have to think about that goal you have. Just think, that's like half of the way. And then second, if you take action every day, small action towards that goal, small action every day, you'll be successful. So the book, the name, it's amazing. Read it, you won't regret it. It will change your life. So Think and Grow Rich. This is like perfect book. And then the last one that I'm going to talk about is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. This is a fabulous book. I love this book for several reasons. I recently did like 10-day meditation camp, like last year I did that. It was a total new challenge. This book talks about, like, it's more like happiness related book. If you want to be happy and maybe even successful, right? It talks about the power of now, that most people that you go out, you see they're not present, they're not in the moment. They think either about the past that they've lived or about the future that is going to happen now. Very few people are in the moment, in present moment, and it talks a lot about the inner voice that we have in our heads. Most of that voice, like, it harms most of the time us. There's something constantly thinking, talking to you in your head. It can bring negative thoughts. It can talk to you. It can tell you you're not going to be successful. Tell you bad things. Sometimes it tells you good things, right? Apparently, the idea of the book is there's something in our head, there's a voice in our head that is controlling us most of the time, and then the key to be successful, to be free, liberated, to be present, is to actually, first of all, understand and be aware that there's like this being that is something else to your soul. So you're not your soul, because if you're your soul, there's so many negative souls that you're going to have. Now, it is actually a bit complicated book. I won't recommend it to people who are not there yet or not ready to understand it. But if you're ready to understand it, this book can change your life, because it will actually make you realize that this inner voice in your head is not you, and your being is actually pure, it's clear. And by practicing meditation, you can actually tap into that, like, that presence, that like goodness inside you, that like that thing that unites you with the world, with the universe. You understand that you and other people in the world are no different. You're part of one energy. You're part of one being. It's like tap into your inner being. So, amazing book, has changed my life massively. I've learned to control my thoughts. I learned to control my anxieties, and I learned to realize that I am this being. And the voice in my head, like the negative thoughts, the bad things that I think, the things that I think that are holding me back, they are not me. There's something like different to me. And so it's just a machine that is supposed to help us improve our lives, but sometimes it controls us because we give our power to it. Now that's it for now. I hope you loved this review, and let me know what you think. Let me know what are your favorite books, and comment below what you think of my review. Thank you so much, and see you in our next videos. Cheers.